Hey y'all, this is Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey Kat. And this is the Fake Ass Book Club. Wait, can we both say it or no?
Hey guys, it's your girl Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey Kat.
Hey, you know what I was thinking on the way over here?
Welcome back, guys.
Welcome back.
Fake Ass Book Club.
Fake Ass Club.
What were you thinking, friend?
I was thinking about how we're kind of like Gina and Pam.
Am I Pam?
No, you're Gina.
Why I got it? Because I'm like
Yes. It's how it must be. I'm
I
sorry.
thought about the personalities though.
And you're the one in the relationship, and I'm single.
Oh. I wanted to be
Pam.
No shade, Gina. I love you, girl. You're iconic. And I remember in 8th grade, certain people were calling me Gina.
Really?
Yes. It was like a whole thing for a while. So, all right, I receive it. I'm Gina.
But they're such a great duo.
They are.
They're a great. Do you remember Little Shop of Horrors?
Barely. I remember the guy with glasses.
They were in Little Shop of Horrors. They were the singing ladies.
Oh.
Little Shop. Except I don't sing. Like,
go for it. Tell me. I don't remember that song.
Anyway, welcome back to another fabulous episode of the Fab Podcast.
Yes, people, we are back. It's our holiday episode.
Happy holidays, because we're
holidays.
inclusive.
That's right. We try to be inclusive, you guys. We are excited to be here as always. Kat has finally got her holiday wish, actually, because we are going to be talking about a book that she's been mentioning to me for quite some time.
Holidays on Ice by David Sedaris. This is a book that I've cherished. I discovered David Sedaris listening to NPR, and I've been reading his books for years. I was always impressed by, because actually he was going to be in my new segment, This Week's Nice White Person. And so...
Wait, we're doing that this week?
I mean, I don't know.
Oh, but you're saying he could be
he
that one?
inspired the idea
you.
for this segment because he's always been very honest about. He's from like North Carolina. He was like, "Man, this is racist," and but he's also a homosexual. So he was also like, "This is homophobic."
It sounded like you said homosexual. Hama?
He's because it's southern.
Southern. Oh,
Mhm.
got you. With
Yeah.
the accent. Did I catch
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's why.
Okay, homosexual.
But yes, I've just always really loved his point of view, his sense of humor. And so I'm happy to share that with you, Moni, and our listeners.
I know, you guys. So, yeah, that's what we're doing today. And note, if you guys are watching YouTube, we have our holiday hats on. You know what I'm saying? Get into it with us. We've got our bubbly drinks right here.
Because we're
ready.
bringing the gifts.
We are the gift of good conversation, the gift of friendship,
And literacy.
and sparkling wine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the gift that keeps on
Yay,
giving. So
I like
cheers
it.
to you, friends. All right, so you guys, I think let's dedicate the episode, okay? Hands over your hearts, everyone. We want to dedicate this episode, as always, to our listeners, our followers, and our supporters. And more importantly, not even more importantly, but just we got to put an extra cherry on top to our patrons. You guys, thank you so much.
You're the best people in the world.
Woo, but you're putting your money where your mouth is, and I can't say enough how much we appreciate that. Thank you so much. And you know what? I wanted to just sort of dedicate this episode to, to the idea of family and gathering. I think this time of year is a beautiful time of year, but it can be really hard too, because some people have lost family members, or maybe the family dynamics have shifted, and it's not a postcard or whatever. But relationships are messy. Family can be messy. But the holidays is an opportunity to sort of really plug into the people who you care about and who care about you and create memories. So hopefully you guys are doing that. What about you, friend?
Yes, and your dedication. My dedication this week is going to the New York Times puzzle, the New York Times Wordle. And so this kind of ties in a little bit to our book a little bit, because that's kind of like the NPR, like New York Times kind of like world, like all of this stuff. It's a whole vibe. And so I wish I had time to do the crossword puzzle every day, but I don't. But I have time to do the Wordle. So if any of you guys follow us on Instagram, dedication over. So if you follow us on Instagram, like I usually post my Wordle every day, my Wordle puzzle. And so we were talking about this week because I didn't realize you didn't understand what I was doing because you were like, wait, you post that every day? I think you thought it was like a weekly thing.
I did think it was weekly, and it just always starts with the same word. So I just was like, this is the same one. This isn't like a different one every day. So yes, and still am confused. So you might have to break it down.
So Wordle, I love word games. Like that is just, I like Taboo.
Ooh,
I like Words with Friends, crosswords, word puzzles, word jong, all this stuff. So when Wordle came out, it's basically you have to guess it's a 5-letter word, and you have to guess what it is, and you get 6 chances. So you notice I always start out with the same word. It's bows.
Every single time.
And I know it's not going to be that, because the other thing about the New York Times Wordle is that it's not going to end with S. It's not going to be a plural of anything.
It's going to be singular.
It's going to be singular, but that first word gives me so much information about the word, because I'm ruling, it's either going to be one of the 3 vowels I used or none of them, or I'm ruling out the S, and the S is going to be in there somewhere. Okay. So I have like a flow chart.
Strategy.
It's so much strategy involved. I'm also very proud of my 100% score I have, because I've gotten them all. Like the shortest.
Gotten them all?
Yeah.
Ever?
Not ever. I haven't played it since it started, but ever since I've been posting it on, I think I'm up to 70 right now. So, because it's every day.
Let's go.
So, of course, the sooner you guess it, the better you feel, because it gives you your stats too. Because at the end of it, there's a chart. And so, if you ever watch the whole thing, I'm guessing the word. I always start with bows. That's my favorite word to start with, and then from there, I make my decision on what I guess, and I get it every time.
That is so awesome. Yeah, no, you guys, I'm literally
and here's the other thing. I always post the previous day's puzzle. Like, I never post that day's puzzle because I'm not a sociopath.
I'm mad you felt like you had to make that distinction, though.
Someone asked me about that. I was like,
what?
Yeah, because I talk about, like me and my cousin, we talk about the Wordle.
Okay.
And so I was like, she asked me, she was like, well, you don't post that day? So I'm like, what do you think of me?
But I don't understand why that's offensive.
Because that's such a jerk thing to do. Like posting.
Oh, got it. Because people care about it. I forgot about that. My God. I was like, wait a minute. What's the damn problem? You solved it.
Yes.
I thought the point was to show off.
If you ever saw The Office and somebody did Stanley's crossword puzzle or something like that, that's how I would feel.
I understand now.
Yeah.
You got me. Thank you.
If somebody gave me the Wordle and I didn't get to solve it myself, I would be hot.
It's like you talking about Black Panther right now, because I haven't seen it.
Let's move on to the
Cheers.
book. Holidays on Ice. David Sedaris. I want to get your feelings on, because it's so hard for me not to talk about this until the podcast, because I want to know how you feel about stuff when I recommend it. So what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are, before I even say I'm so mad because the internet's not working on my computer, and his biography thing, I had to click a link.
Here, I'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up. I want to give a little bit about him.
But tell people what it is.
Okay, so it's a book of short stories, and I think it's inspired by the holidays. So some of them, it's a collection. It's a Holiday on Ice. It's a 1997 collection of essays and stories about Christmas, some new, some old, by David Sedaris. And basically, some of them are wild to me. And then, I have my 3 favorites.
Okay.
Of them. I think overall I liked it. Like, I got what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? But I will say that I don't think this is for everyone.
Oh, it's weird.
I don't think it's for everybody. I think that if you are a more traditional person, or if you're not even, like, if humor isn't something, especially if it's a little bit sort of skewed or jaded or dark, like, you're not probably going to vibe with his fictional stuff that he had. Because, and again, it was 1997, so some of the language is antiquated, so that could be technically offensive. There's also, there's like dead kids and stuff being mentioned throughout, which I did feel like
the humor's
was crazy.
A bit blue.
It's a little blue. So I think if you don't like that, maybe skip those stories, and I can tell you the ones you can highlight without, having to clutch your pearls too much. But overall, I liked it. You know what I'm saying? I had my 3 favorites. The other ones were just okay. Like, I didn't love all of them, but the ones that were funny were really funny to me. So I will say that. So yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
I think I found a good about. David Sedaris American humorist and essayist best known for his sardonic autobiographical stories and social commentary, which appeared on the radio and in numerous best-selling books. He was publicly recognized in 1992 when National Public Radio broadcast his essay, Santaland Diaries. He published his first collection of essays and short stories, Barrel Fever, in 1994.
Okay, yes. So
giving us the 1900s. So, yes,
Yeah,
I agree with your
1900s.
thing, too. It is a bit dated.
yeah, it's dated. But so just know that going in, if this is something you want to enjoy or check out or whatever, yeah, it's going to be some stuff in there that might, if you're sensitive, might make you feel away.
Yeah, one
But-
of the book covers was like Santa at a urinal.
Yeah.
That gives you kind of like the vibe a little bit of what this is about. So,
So
what I
much fun,
especially wanted you to read was the Santaland Diaries.
Excellent. Well, do you want to just get into it? Let's start.
Well, no, I
Let's-
want to hear what your 3 favorite stories were.
Oh, okay. So you guys, there were 12 stories in this version. I think the first one, maybe there was just 6. So my top 3 were, in no particular order, Santaland Diaries. I think that was the very first one, which was really funny. Dinah the Christmas Whore. Okay. Language, guys. This is the Adults Podcast.
Yes.
Okay. And then also a 6 to 8 Black Men. Those 3 were my faves.
Also, the titles. I
Yes,
mean,
it's
so my sense of humor. That's why I loved it so hard. I think those were really good picks. Because
What
to
are
me,
your faves?
Santaland Diaries. I mean, I
your
can't
number
be
one?
said enough, especially read in his voice. Because that's the thing, too. Like, I can see why that put him. To me, this is just a classic.
Okay.
That's why it's really about him, like being a struggling writer in New York and getting a job as a Macy's elf in Santaland. And
Sounds terrible, actually.
it does. He was talking about how he's like, oh my God, I can't believe my life has come to this.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. And the fact, too, that he was only hired because he's short. Like that was, pretty much it. But just his interactions with people, it's the one where, because he has such a bad, I don't know if anyone's ever been to New York. People don't care if you live or die. So it's, dealing with people who are getting all amped up about Santa, it gets weird. And people would always tell him, like, I'm going to have you fired. I'm going to have you fired. And he was like, I always wanted to say, I'm going to have you killed.
Wow.
Just the idea of an elf saying all these wild things.
Things
It
to
was just
people.
incredibly funny to me.
Yeah, he's wild. And it was funny, too, because he had this obsession with, was it a soap opera or something?
Yes, Days of Our Lives.
Days of Our Lives. And so
Yeah, he wanted to be a writer on Days of
my
Our Lives.
gosh, like, it was funny to hear
Which
him
I think
geeking
Cola
out.
Booth did do.
I feel like I vaguely remember that about
Yeah, I know she wrote for a soap opera.
Right.
But I don't know if I feel like it was Days of Our Lives.
Might have been, but yeah, I never really got into soap operas, but I know that's one wildly popular one. And to think about him just being like, I think 2 of the people he worked with actually
We're on it.
were on the
Yeah,
show.
one
and
was a
stuff, so he
flamenco
was-
dancer.
Listen, went hard, man. So I don't know. What's your favorite part about that story? Like, why do you think it hit you with? I mean,
Because it's lampooning the sanctity of Santa. Because people take Santa very seriously.
they do.
And for me, I've always been a bit irreverent because I kind of just always knew it was fake. And my whole thing was like, I don't know why people are like, because I was that kid who figured out it was fake, and I told other kids at school. I was not trying to be a jerk. I really was just trying to be like, hey, did you guys know this? Like, I figured this out. Like, I saw
Swapping
the
info,
present.
huh?
Yeah, I found the presents. I'm like, obviously, like, this is a whole thing. Like,
Well, so I'm thinking to them, it was kind of like you just basically posted your Wordle score, though. You know what I mean? It's like, this is my information. I mean, I'm just saying the feeling of that is, and of course, as a kid, like, you're getting some new information. You're trying to put your friends up on game or whoever. But I would imagine that's
people
probably
don't
what
like
felt
it. That was my first time
No.
learning. People don't want to hear the truth.
No.
They want
No,
things
no.
that coincide with their narrative that they're telling themselves. So I like the fact that he was just very reckless about, because people take it so seriously, and he was just like, y'all need to,
The hell
this is
down.
fake. Like, calm down. This isn't even a real thing. And I really, actually, one of the screenshots I took was when, because people use it also as control, because people do that all the time. It's like, Brandon, if you're not good, Santa's not going to bring you any presents. And it's like, just explain to him, it's like, Brandon, if you don't get this, if you don't pull yourself together, What I'm not going to do is work overtime so that I can buy your overprivileged ass another thing.
Right.
Like, that's what's going to happen. Like, the reality of the situation is I'm not playing this game with you. Right. So,
but again, we already talked about how even sometimes fake men have more power in a situation. Like, you using this fictional character, you know what I'm saying, to leverage. And I get it because, you know, yeah, I mean, you're using everything at your disposal, but when you really think about it, it does feel a little bit like, wow, yeah, we're problematic.
I love the little things that I'm sorry. Every time I think of it, it makes me laugh so hard. Because this woman like grabs our Arthur and says, "Hey, quote, you there, elf, tell Riley here that if he doesn't start behaving immediately, then Santa's going to change his mind and bring him coal for Christmas." End quote. I said that Santa no longer traffics in coal. Instead, if you're bad,
here it comes.
He comes to your house and steals things. I told Riley if he didn't behave himself, Santa was going to take away his TV and all his electrical appliances and leave him in the dark. All your appliances, including the refrigerator. Your food is going to spoil and smell bad. It's going to be so cold and dark where you are. Man, Riley, are you ever going to suffer? You're going to wish you never heard the name Santa. The woman got worried, looked on her face and said, "All right, that's enough." I said, "He's going to take your car."
He's going to take your what? Your car? Is he driving?
I said, "He's going to take your car, your furniture, all your towels and you get it." Like, to me, it's just so funny. Like, on shows like The Boondocks, Futurama, whenever they show Santa as the villain, because ultimately, if you really think about, that was my whole thing as a kid. If you think about the logic of it, I'm like, this is creepy as hell. Like, we brought that up when we were interviewing the fake Santa at the Improv show.
That is very true. I told him I didn't appreciate his narrative. It's a little creepy and stuff.
It's very well, and I liked it when he got into the other Santa narratives in other countries.
I love that. So let's transition.
Yes, let's do
little
that.
bit, and we can go back to the Santa Land Diaries because there were. Well, so let me say this real quick before we move back, because what I liked was, I mean, to your point, the manipulation that you're. You know, like the using Santa as leverage type thing, but then also, too, he was observing families that, you know, okay, so the kid's sitting on Santa's lap, and it's like, tell Santa what you want before they can open their mouth. He wants you know, like you're speaking for your kid, or they look clearly miserable, like you're dragging them to this fake-ass event. You know what I'm saying? To what end, though? You know what I mean?
And to wait for hours.
So it's like, I'm not standing, listen, I got the cutest picture of my beautiful nephew and his beautiful wife and their 3 kids. They have 3 little kids, and they went to the mall to go to the Santa. And to me, that just blows my mind. I've never gone to the mall to stand in line to take my kids to Santa.
I have at Lafayette Square.
I cannot do it.
But there was no line. It was real quick.
Listen, now, maybe something like that.
And it was a black Santa.
Yo, I'm not saying I don't get it, because these are really fun pictures, I guess, to go back to or whatever. But
no, it's creepy. Like looking back now, it's creepy. And it's so funny, too, because my daughter was never with it.
Yo.
She was like, I don't like this at all.
Yo.
But my son, he was just always just like, whatever. Like, you know.
Sure.
Let's get this over with.
Yeah, because clearly you care about this.
He wouldn't smile. He was like.
Right. I don't know this man.
Love it.
I don't know. But yeah, so that part was just striking too. Just how the adults were behaving in that sort of scenario. You're finding diapers in the middle of the, you know, like set and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. There's a kid peeing over here. It's like,
whenever you have large amounts of human beings, which is why I don't like crowds, it gets crazy and gross.
What about the white and black Santa thing?
I thought that was hilarious. I love that he intentionally sent racist people to the Black Santa. Yes. That was very fun for me. This is another reason why he inspired the nice white people thing. It's like, yes, you should irritate racists. That's the right thing to do.
Right, you shouldn't be comfortable.
Yeah, like,
let's share.
I also loved it too when he would be like real with the kids, and he'd be like, "You must be exhausted."
You're right. Like, you're hungry. I know you haven't eaten anything.
And
you
this was like, I think he wrote this in the 90s, but it must have happened in the 80s. So, like, clothes were, like, not as breathable. Like, there would have been way more wool.
Less cotton blend.
Yes. Like, it would have been just dreadful. So,
That's the idea of it.
This is, to me, classic literature that I hope goes down in the ages.
Yeah, I noticed when I was looking on Goodreads, like, a lot of the things that people had to say about it was like one of the top stories. Like, their favorites was the department store stuff. But yeah, Yeah, it's funny. I think that one's worth listening to, definitely.
Especially if you've worked retail. I worked
Oh my
retail for
God.
years, especially in the holiday season. And it's very, what?
I was just trying to think, I mean, other than, I think I only had one retail job. I was just trying to think back.
Oh, okay. I've had
That
a
was me
couple.
thinking it hurt. My eye was
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a whole thing where you do have to take a step back sometimes and be like, wait a minute, why am I getting so worked up about getting like this sweater or whatever it is, whatever
it's a
object?
frenzy. It's a frenzy.
Yeah, it's like because one thing that really helped to like crystallize the holidays for me was the year I left my first ex-husband. Like I didn't have anything. And so I wasn't able to buy anybody Christmas presents except my son. And he was super young, so he didn't need much.
Right.
And so I remember feeling really bad that Christmas, though, because I got presents and I didn't have anything for anybody else. And I remember a couple years later, I mentioned it to one of my family members. And I was like, you remember that Christmas where I couldn't buy anybody anything? And she was like, no. And it's like, yeah, it turns out you're stressing yourself out and it doesn't even really matter.
Yeah,
So a lot of times, and it's not like I'm against gift giving. I love gift giving. It's very cool. But also, like, there's no point of, like, driving yourself into debt or insanity over it. Like, there's so many ways to show people you care about them. And I think that's what Christmas is all about.
It should be, you know what I'm saying, or whatever holiday. I mean, if there's a gift exchange.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
like
'cause we're
whatever.
inclusive.
Sorry, holiday.
Yes, but I mean, we're talking specifically about Christmas because of the story and stuff like that too. And we grew up with, you know, our versions of Christmas or whatever. So,
And it involved a lot of retail.
It did, and I think that, I think that it is, because I was looking at something on, it was some article, but it was just like, when do you say no, like, to your kids? Like, how do you decide how much of your wish list do you decide? And I just thought that feels very, like, that's a very privileged place to be in when you have to decide, because I know personally, from my experience, I mean, we would get Christmas gifts, like we had, and it was mostly toys and stuff like that, but it wasn't like, I don't know, like, my mom was very, you know, clear about, like, you're not about to, this isn't, like, I didn't expect
It's not your
the
birthday.
world. Yeah, like, I didn't expect the world. Like, I wasn't.
Jesus' birthday.
Yo, and I mean, it's somebody's birthday, but it wasn't mine. And I was just grateful. Like, I don't ever really remember being like, dang, I didn't get what I wanted. I was just always so happy for whatever I got. And so that's kind of the thing you want to lead with. Like, I think it's a fun tradition for kids. I think when adults, like, when you have adults that are like, you know, you're in your 30s or even mid to mid 20s, expecting your parents to buy you stuff for Christmas. I mean, y'all let me know if it's not a point of being right or wrong. In my opinion, I just feel like anything extra you get as an adult is
Gifts are never owed. That's the whole thing. That's
You're
like
grown now, love.
Like, words have meaning. Like, bills are
What are we
owed.
talking about?
But, like, gifts are gifts, and they're very voluntary, and nobody owes you any.
They just don't.
So
And
you just have to. That was one of the things too, because honestly, I feel like I'm a very nurturing person, but, like, I'm not great at just, like, on the spot gift buying. Like, if I see something and I'm like, oh, okay, and that made me think of you, I'll get it. But whenever I'm, like, under pressure, so, like, my ex has always been like, oh, you don't give good gifts. And so it's like, okay, but I didn't have to get you anything, really. Like, that's the whole thing. And, like, quite honestly, like, I buy myself everything I want. So,
that's all I'm saying.
Like,
It's like, I'm not going to
so
wait
this
till
is just
Christmas.
extra. Like, so it's nice when people give me stuff, but quite honestly, like, I like just the chilling and eating. To me, that's the best part of Christmas. Seeing people I haven't seen in a long time, taking that time out.
Christmas quiche.
You know, and, like, Christmas
that
quiche.
makes that has, like, crab legs, like real ones in there.
Yeah.
And fresh herbs.
Yeah. I'm actually growing some basil right now for it.
Yo.
It's going to be nice.
I mean, at some point, there might just be fab quiches or something. I'll help you. I'll have to learn the recipe. Or we'll have to get a little factory.
Once again, if I can do it, because it's actually a very simple recipe. It's just,
good.
it just takes a couple days.
But that's the thing. People ain't trying to spend a couple days to make something. This is why it's a gift, because I understand, like, you're spending your time to do it. I appreciate that, too. I know. I look forward to it.
And I appreciate all you do, because that's the whole thing. It's like, you don't have to give me a gift. Like, your friendship truly, I mean, not to get all sappy and stuff, but shit. Like,
no, that's what we're here for. Let's do it.
It's a choice and it's a gift. Like, you don't have to give your time. Nobody owes you time.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, owes me some time. You don't owe me any time, but
if you have it
do
and you share it, I'm
anyway.
grateful. So yeah, I think there is a kind of a undertone of just like the ungratefulness that happens around this time of year because it's so commercial and it's so centered around, like the gift giving thing. And what I will say for my mom, I think, and then we can pivot to the next thing, as far as just the commercialism and the like the gift giving and the pressure that people feel to do that thing. I think by the time we were like in our early teens or even preteens, probably for my younger brother, not even, it stopped. I mean, like, it wasn't like we were having whole ass Christmases as far as like there was always the meal. My mom was definitely, I'm feeding you and I'm feeding you well. Like you might get your own cake, pie, dessert, whatever. But when it started coming to gifts, it was like, I'm buying you, maybe a pair of boots that you needed, a nice coat, and I'm giving you some cash so you can shop after Christmas. You know what I'm saying? And she used to do a thing where she picked a name of, or picked a family from her job. And I remember a couple of Christmases we'd have to go, she'd give us one of the kids, we'd have to pick their gifts. Mm-hmm. And it was like, she bought them a washer and dryer one year. Like really made, I think their house burned down or something.
Amazing gift.
And it just highlighted to me how grateful we were. Yeah. Because it's like these people are grateful for just like pajamas, you know what I'm saying? Like some basic stuff that it's like, I mean, I got all that stuff. So I think in my mind, even though it did feel a little bit like, damn, I guess we ain't doing Christmas no more. I mean, a little bit. It still was kind of like, I think as I got to be a young adult, I did not expect it. You know what I'm saying? Like I recognize how it's like, yeah, I mean, some people don't have anything. And so like, just be grateful for what you have because nobody has
honestly,
to.
Honestly, my best Christmas gifts have been Barbies. Like
Barbies
those have been like
the
best Christmases when I got all the Barbie stuff I wanted. Like those were the best ones. Like it really hasn't gotten better than that. Like I've gotten iPads, Barbie. She was definitely who I was checking for. Did you ever have like the dream house or and all that kind of stuff? So my cousin had the dream house. I never had a dream house at my house. Do I know just said cousin? Do I know which one? You have. Mm-hmm. You have. Okay, that rules out that it's not who I'm thinking it is. Okay. So yeah, it was, so no, I used to have to build my own dream houses. You know what's funny though? I would use books. We used to set up like books and use them as like layouts, like for different dividers and stuff like that. I remember at my grandmother's, like in the South, like she had a set of encyclopedias. And we would use those as different furniture and apparatus for our Barbies. We would play epic, like, days-long games of Barbie. I know you have to leave them frozen right where they are so that when you come back, you can pick up. It's like the longest soap opera ever. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, awesome. It's pretty amazing. Man, Barbie that was the whole thing. But, like, yeah, I won't get into my whole diatribe about how, like, Santa is just a stand-in for, like, this mythical, like, all-knowing, magical white man that provides you with everything. Because I always told my kids, too, it's like, I'm buying that stuff. Like, I am story about your son when he was small and when you told him about Santa Claus. Because I told him, because I was like, hey, we were saying something about Santa, and I was like, hey, you know I'm Santa, right? And I was like, he was like, you can't be Santa. Santa's white. And I was like, if you ever see a fat white man walking around our house, you holler because he is not here to help us. Right. Like, you should know life is real. There's no, like breaking. I'm working every day so that I can buy you presents. You should be very grateful. So, but we would still do like the Santa stuff. Like Santa's kind of like the mascot for Christmas. That's you know, and I think that's a safe way to think about it. Like it's fun. I don't want to like abolish Santa, but we should have a more healthy relationship with the narrative. Yeah, that's true. I think it's funny though that you even tried to tell him the truth, and he was like, actually, lady, actually, I know who Santa is. Who do you think I am? Okay. And I also love the episode of Boondocks when Riley was going in on Santa. Oh my gosh. I really feel like that episode really, I'm sorry. We got to move on. We got to move on. Send me the link. Okay, send me the link. So let's move on. So one of my other favorite stories was the 6 to 8 Black Men. So you had mentioned like just the sort of like just different narratives. Title. Yes. It was like, because I was like, wait a minute, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? And in the audiobook, he must have been performing it for a live audience too. So maybe that's what he does when he comes here. He does because you mentioned like he'll be at Clues Hall, I think in a couple weeks, and like he tours and just reads from his books. What a great gig! Oh my God, that would be kind of fun too because these are funny. And also he's written about doing these gigs and book signings and stuff, and it's just his perspective is so funny. This might be the sparkly pink wine talking, but I love you, David Sedaris.
Oh my
Like,
gosh,
you've given me
David.
so much joy.
David, my God. Well, she's been talking about
And
you.
David
so-
means beloved.
My beloved. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go. Well, so he was sharing. So this story, the 6 to 8 Black Men, is a story where he's talking about like he's traveled all over the world. He's lived lots of different places, and he likes to ask questions of people. Like he said, he tries to start off in an area where like it doesn't even really matter. Like, what's the average temperature here in the month of June or something like that. But then also he ends up sort of going into more serious stuff, and he said, like, I like to start with small stuff and kind of move in just to kind of get a feel for like who are these people that live here, what's important to them. And it always comes, he said he asks about gun laws, which was
is
really
fascinating.
funny, and I never thought about. And maybe the clip of him talking about that, I mean, that could be cute. I'm not saying you have to put it in there.
If you send it to me, I will do it.
And yeah, I like that. And then also about their holidays and like how they celebrate holidays. So let's see. We are gonna go to in the Netherlands. So he was in the Netherlands, and their Christmas celebration starts a little earlier in November, like mid-November. So I'm just going to read a little bit here so I'm not messing it up. It says, traditionally in mid-November, 2 weeks before the celebrated feast day, Sinterklaas arrives in the Netherlands by boat from his home in Spain. So this is him like sharing his story about what he perceives is Christmas and like how we celebrate stuff and theirs. And how, because these two things are clearly not real stories, how absurd it is.
But how he still got mad because like, that's stupid. Santa's not from Spain.
Listen, because apparently like, okay, so let's see who he was. So it says,
the first Saint Nicholas.
Yes. So the original Saint Nicholas was a bishop of Asia Minor in the first half of the fourth century. And then he
kind of looked like the Pope.
Right. It says, well, okay, so by the late Middle Ages, his death or birth into heaven on December 6th was commemorated annually. Saint Nicholas came back to earth bearing gifts for all deserving children and punished the rest through leaving birch switches behind for parental use.
So you can beat the children.
Like, that's part of the holiday celebration, just beating your children with sticks.
It's worked right in there.
Wow. And so
you can either get the carrot or you can get the stick.
Hopefully.
What you gonna do? Make your next move your best move.
Oh my God. Like, how terrifying. First of all, let's talk about that. But then it says locals believe that Spanish sailors brought the legend of St. Nicholas to the Netherlands. Special celebrations commence on December the 6th. And I guess it's on the actual holiday that they celebrate is on December the 5th. But let me see. Okay, well, I already said that. Okay, so he is on a white horse, right? And he's this whole 2-week period before December 5th comes, basically he's visiting different homes. And so they're landing on people's roofs. He's kind of listening down into the chimney to hear like, y'all got bad kids in here and all. And then on the 5th, if you've been good, you get candy and stuff. And then if you haven't, you might get your ass beat, okay? All right? Or have the apparatus for your mama to beat your ass or your dad, whomever doles out the holiday beating.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is wild. This is super crazy, man. Like, okay.
But you're so used to it. That's the thing. Because I think we did have a discussion last episode about traditions.
Oh, my God.
And how, like, a lot of crazy stuff can creep in there because we just do it all the time.
And you never question it. And you never compare it to other people's stuff. So that's what I liked. This is also why I do like learning about different cultures, because it does tend to contextualize the things that you learn, and you understand how somebody can look at your culture and be like, so why y'all do
Am I
that?
just doing something dumb just because we always did it?
We just always have. And how you don't even question it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really weird.
It's like, it's just what we do.
It definitely is. And so there was a part that talks about this companion that's with St. Nicholas. Is it Black Pete's?
Spark the Pete.
That's
the German one. Because I was on The Office as well.
This is still like, so I'm pulling this up. This is still like, this is all under.
Because they tried to be like, oh, he wasn't black. Because initially it was his slave, but then when slavery wasn't cool, and be like, no, that's just his black friend. And then it went from, no, it's actually his white friend. He just got dirty going down the chimney.
Listen, because
there's a lot of blackface.
Yeah. So the origin,
God forbid you hire a black person to play his slave. It's like, you know what?
Who's doing that? Who wants to sign up to do that?
Well, it would just be work. Like, just historically, blackface came about because they just didn't want to pay black people to portray
Or be
themselves.
around
It's
them,
like, I
probably.
could give this money to a white person who could just pretend to be black.
Like, just put some smut on your
Shmish,
face,
shmish,
it'll be
shmish.
fine.
And then, like, really black it up.
Well, and then it says the origin is uncertain because, like you're saying, they say that Zwarte Piet is a medieval symbol of Christian idea of evil, once associated with darkness, hence the symbolic blackface. That's nice to know. Cool. Black faces are evil, guys. Hope you know that.
Yes.
And then others believe that it's more probably that he was his Moorish servant, which does track, especially for Spain. I mean, like I just read a book with my son about,
it was totally normal sauce for hundreds of years.
And so, like you said, as kind of things went through, it was like, no.
The Overton window.
The Overton window does
shifted,
shift. We know that it's a little problematic to be like, yeah, this is his Moorish servant or whatever, slave. It was the stuff from the chimney. It's like, get real. So, but it was funny too because it made me think about that. What?
I'm sorry. Because then wouldn't Santa be black too?
No, he wiped his off.
Okay.
There was an extra napkin.
Gotcha. Next to the cookies.
Yeah, no. So, this made me think about that episode of Atlanta. Did you ever finish the last season?
I have 2 episodes left. I'm like not ready for it to be over.
Did you see the one where they were doing the concert in the Netherlands?
Yeah.
With the blackface people in the crowd? I'm going to leave the link. It is so funny. It instantly made me think about that and how they left because they were like,
how they write. To me, it's always a really good illustration of how resistant people are being told that their behavior is problematic because they're like, no, it's because we like black people so much. It's not racist because I like it.
That part. And I get that too because there's stuff that I think that's probably
I had to
problematic.
ask myself and also shout out to Jody, her beautiful vision board party we went to this weekend. It was fantastic. Image Control.
Let's go.
And it was, she had such a great layout. And one of the things though in the pastries, because there was these cookies, and we used to always call them Mexican wedding cake. And I was like, is that problematic though?
I have no idea.
Right? Like, I'm like, should we even be calling it that? Because I'm like, that might be like, slick. Or like Russian wedding cake. There's like all these things where like we put a nationality behind it because I'm like, was that shade or was it
just describing where it came from?
Yeah, or where I heard about it from.
I don't know.
Because you know what's funny too? Because have you ever had like the Nigerian jollof rice?
I'm sad to say I have not, but I really do.
If
you know
seen
anybody
it,
who
though,
makes it, I want some.
Like the ingredients, like the recipe and stuff like that.
It reminds me of paella.
Right. Well, that was what I was saying. I was like, oh, I had this growing up, but my grandma called it Spanish rice. And so,
there you go.
Like there's all this stuff where it's like we put this stuff on it, but I'm like, is that even the right moniker?
Yeah, that part I don't know. But it does make you think about certain things like that because you don't really question that. You don't really question, the holidays or how you celebrate them or anything until you hear somebody else's and you're like, wait, a magical bell comes to your house?
And that's why it's important to read and learn about other cultures. It's like, okay, because there's a lot to learn about them and yourself.
Oh, my God.
Also, why I liked the little show called Star Trek. It really helped to.
So now let's blank out the screen, and then there's just going to be a face with an emoji, and the eyes are going to roll real slow. Okay. It's Star Trek again.
Yeah, Star Trek again. But, yeah, that was a very good story.
Yeah, it was good. I like that one. So basically, it was just his disbelief in how ridiculous their story was versus the fact that, like, yours is dumb too. If you really think about it and you're getting your ass off your shoulders about it. It's like, all this shit sounds really fucking silly. If you take away just like your experience with
your nostalgia
with it. If you just like, I always think like if I never heard this story before and somebody was trying to explain to me, okay, so because that was funny. That was the funny part too when he was talking about people that he worked with, where he was, or no, was he in a French class?
One of his books is called Me Talk Pretty One Day.
That's the one
I love that book where he's talking about like when he's in France and he's going to French school and he kept failing. Like he just wasn't. French was hard. It's very difficult to learn a new language when you're an adult. Yeah. But he was, in love with his partner and wanted to be with him. So yes, he was. His experiences in French class are very, very funny.
It's really cute and funny. But yeah, and it was like they were trying to explain Easter, and it was like. It was like the way they were explaining it was so basic and crazy. It was like, okay, so
and then when you add the bunny
and the chocolates, it was like this feels incoherent. This is not a full thought. I don't know.
And then you're trying to be a polite listener and be like, Because it's just like when you hear about somebody else's weird tradition, it's like,
Yeah. So you guys bury a toad on the third day? Yeah, it is really weird. Traditions are just weird, you guys. Yeah.
I feel like that was an episode of Community where it was the Christmas or the holiday episode, but everybody in the study group were a different faith. So like Abed was Muslim, Shirley was Christian, Britta and I think Jeff weren't religious at all. Troy was Jehovah's Witness. And so everyone was like trying to reconcile all the different stuff. And the one girl, what was Abby? What was her name? Allie? I can't remember the girl's name, but she was Jewish. And she was just like, can't we just agree religions are just weird and we don't talk about it? And
I think that's probably fair.
Yeah. So
I think that's probably a fair way to do it. And
that's the best way to handle it.
It's the best way to handle it and just really focus on the community and the gathering and the gratitude that you're supposed to feel, because that's the thing for me. Like, I mean, I tell my kids, I think they know, like, it's funny because it's like they know Santa Claus is not real, and I don't write like, oh, from Santa, from any of your gifts. Like, I think that they know that. I'm not about to insult your intelligence. It's my handwriting on this whole gift and everything, but but it's like they still like to participate, like you said, like in that mascot kind of sense. Like, y'all know it's not a tooth fairy. You know it's your daddy. It's so funny. Because the tooth fairy is weird, right? Like, it's like some
You're selling your body parts for money.
Yo, selling your body parts.
That's
weird
ultimately.
It's like, what are they doing? My daughter was like, what are they doing
Wait,
with this?
Did I make you watch Immoral Compass with Bill Burr? The show he had on the Roku channel? Everybody watch it. They're super short, too. They're perfect. Like, they're these little vignettes, and there's one about a little girl, and the tooth fairy is super weird and funny. So it's right up my alley.
It's so cute, though, to talk to kids about that. Because I asked my daughter, I said, well, how does the tooth fairy look? Like, what do you think the tooth fairy looks like? She imagines that it's a guy. She said it has wings. It's small. He's always on his tippy toes, and he has a lisp. And his teeth are rotten. I was like, that is wildly descriptive.
But that makes sense, because that's why he needs the teeth.
She said he eats the teeth. And I was like, he eats them. She's like, yeah, because his teeth are messed up. And I said, oh. Okay. And I mean, how am I going to say, well, that's weird? It's like, no, the whole thing is weird. Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, it's obviously a lady in a dress.
Yeah, because they're the ones doing all the hard work. It's like, dude flying around gathering teeth.
That was the other thing, too, because we've discussed Eddie Huang before and like his show Fresh Off the Boat. And he was talking about how, his family, this is a Chinese immigrant family in Florida. And so Santa is super weird to them because his mom is like, wait, I'm supposed to get some white man credit for all these gifts I'm buying? I don't think so. She was like, it turns out Santa is Chinese and female.
Yo.
So, and I was like, and she dressed up and everything. And it was so cute about it because like she let the little, one of the little boys discover her putting the toy, like doing the whole thing. But she's like, it's like, but she's dressed up and she was like, she made a good point. She was like, what man do you know that is thoughtful enough and organized enough to buy presents for everyone on the planet? It's obviously an Asian woman.
I love it. That is hilarious. It's definitely giving woman vibes, though. It's so funny, too.
Well, because that's who makes the holidays. Could you imagine holidays without your mom?
No. And it's so cute, too, because shout out to my husband, too, because we were talking the other day, and it was just about Christmas and stuff, and something about Santa Claus, and he was like, he said Santa Claus is a black woman. Because, he was just recognizing to me out loud, like, yo, I'm not even really doing all the things that make it Christmas in real life. Like, you're going to be cooking the brunch. You buy most of the presents. He is helping me out with some of it, and he'll help me wrap presents. But, you know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, you're Santa Claus out here. And it's like tip of the Christmas hat to you, the holiday hat to you, okay, spin of the dreidel, all of the things, lighting of the Diwali candles.
Yeah.
To you. So yeah, women, we do, and that's not bashing men. This is really, if you're truly being honest about the feminine energy that's around most stuff like holidays or meals, any of that kind of stuff. Like, we have Kat brought these nice treats right here. You can't really see them, but I have wine. There's fuzzy blankets. Like,
gone now because it's another important part of the holidays is getting super thick.
You have to do it. I don't need help with that, but it's like, yeah. Women just are the heart of the family, and it's not like it doesn't subtract away from what men add to the situation. But I do think that it's nice when people can be honest about, like, yeah, like my mom is the one up cleaning greens, you know what I'm saying, the night before, and making sure we have turkey and serving and da-da-da-da-da. And yeah, so shout out to all the beautiful matriarchs, all of the ancestors, all of the female relatives, and those select few men, because I will say that in my family, like, men do cook. Let's not like my brothers, my grandfather, like, you know, there are men who cook and
Shout out to all them fried potatoes.
Fried potatoes, you know what I'm saying?
Why is it fried potatoes from black men just better?
I don't know, but
I try my best. And I make a lot of really good food.
yeah.
But I've never made fried potatoes better than my uncle's. I've never made fried potatoes that were better than your husband's.
Yeah, and he actually was really sad today because when I left, I pretty much had breakfast ready, but then he was like, dang, we got no potatoes.
And how about my
we don't have
son
to have
fried
every
some
time.
potatoes yesterday?
Amazing.
Well, I don't know. They were all gone when I got home.
Of course.
But
they
I
were.
saw the evidence,
I was
like which was the grease splatter and the lack of potatoes.
and the lack. And the lack. Does your iPad work?
Mm-hmm.
Can I see it? I'm going to look something up.
For sure. Let me open it up with my face.
Yeah, man. I'm just saying, like, I think we just need, there's an old, like, just because you're acknowledging feminine energy doesn't mean you're discounting
your own masculinity.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying, like, let's just acknowledge that that's what this is. And it is kind of nice to be able to do that for my family. I really enjoy it. I thought I'd be oppressed by, you know what I'm saying, just that role, because it's a lot. And I mean, it is a lot.
It's unrelenting.
It's unrelenting, and it doesn't stop. And, you know, we, to an extent, we're socialized to feel like, you know, it should just be easy. Like, I think that the way that it's presented to us.
Wait,
feels
slow
like,
down. Say that again. You said it so fast.
You're right. I did.
And people could miss it because that was a gem. So everybody prepare yourselves. Moni.
Okay. I'm trying not to forget what I said. No, but just the idea that, like, we are socialized as women to be caretakers from a very young age.
Think that it's easy.
To think that it's easy, and it's not. It's a lot of work. It's constant work that never stops. And to make women feel like they're supposed to be, like, you can't complain about it. You can't say that it's hard. You can't say that you need help.
You can't take a break.
You can't take a break because there's this
What do you need a break from? This is easy.
This is your job, right?
Yeah.
But you don't do it, though. Like, that's the other part. Like, especially if you don't do it. I won't say you don't do it, because, again, there are men who do it. And shout out to you men. I've seen it. I live around them. I know who they are. Like, they're in my life. Also,
but there's another subset.
But see, here's the awesome thing about this. If you're a man who happens to be one that's plugged in, like, you have now elevated yourself to a level where it's like, oh my God, you make potatoes? Okay. You know what I'm saying? You cook meals. Like, now it's to me, it's like, that's the bottom bar for what a woman should be, air quotes, bringing to the table. That whole lame ass, well, what do you bring to the table?
Yeah, if all I can say is, like, I can make fried potatoes.
Right, that's what I can do. Cheers, right. Like, nobody would be impressed by that. Like, it's like, bitch, you need to diversify your
your bonds,
life.
nigga.
Right. Okay. What your sandwich is like. You know what I'm saying? What your sandwich is hitting for.
Right,
what's
your
steak
macaroni
look
and
like?
cheese like? That's not pressure.
I don't know what's
Making
happening
macaroni
here.
and cheese for black people is so hard.
It is. And
Like,
I'm flattered that I get called to do it, because I think my macaroni and cheese is
you
pretty
will
good.
get talked about.
Girl, you'll get talked about. I don't care what you, don't bring no nasty food to the holiday dinner. You guys, this is why, another reason why you gotta get in front of the people who are the cooks in your family. Let's preserve our recipes. Let's preserve our food. Make your kids get in the kitchen with you and cook. I'm kind of bad
I've been
at
saying
this
that all this
sometimes,
week. I've
but
been making, I think that's why everybody's been sleeping so much. I've been making
cooking
beans, making a big old pot of beans. I'm post that later, some
beans are
beans and
good,
cornbread.
man. Oh, look at David. He's so cute.
Yes, yes.
My goodness.
But, like, yes, it's very important to preserve these things and also be grateful to the people, because because this was something I used to always, like, complain about in one, I won't say which of my marriages,
Okay.
but just the idea of just being thanked. Like,
I
to
feel like
me,
you
that's
said
important. Like, when I would, like, make a meal, make a plate, and hand it to you, like, at the very least, I just want to hear a thank you. And, like, you'll make a big production of, like, praying and thanking, You know, and even in the Bible, it's like, how are you going to say you love the Lord who you've never seen and hate your neighbor who you see every day?
Who's serving you food?
Yeah. It's like, you see me every day and can't thank me. But, and it's like, and he was like, well, you want me to thank you every time? I'm like, well, you want to eat every time? So I think saying thank you is just such a bare minimum
It's
thing.
so easy. It doesn't
But
take
it
much.
also, and we've been doing, care for my grandmother. Like, I've been doing her hair, you've been doing your nails, and she's so grateful. She thanks us the whole time.
It's so cute.
It's so good for yourself to feel gratitude for the people who are doing stuff for you. Like, it enhances your own happiness instead of thinking about, like, this person should be doing this and you should be doing this, instead of just thinking about, well, like, who is already doing stuff for me.
Amen to that. I think that's a good point as well, because we do get wrapped up in what we feel like we don't have. And I think a lack mindset is so dangerous, because you know, you're instantly discounting what you do have. And I won't say it's easy. I think that definitely there is some intention that's involved. Like, you do have to sort of reframe things for yourself, and maybe, like, I don't know, I have to do that too. And I think, to your point with the thanking part, like, I'm so grateful to have a partner who appreciates what I do, who tells me what a great mom I am. And I could be handing him a breakfast sandwich. This is not anything evolved, but it's like, thanks, babe. Thanks for, thanks. Always thankful. Like, always thankful.
You know,
I never
the last
feel
person
like,
to hand me a breakfast sandwich?
Man, was it
McDonald's for money.
Oh.
Yeah, like, no one's
You
never.
gotta pay somebody for this shit.
Yeah, like,
It's
yeah.
work. And it's like, you know what? And every day I'm not going to wake up every day feeling like doing it. Just like you don't always feeling like doing, all the stuff you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
But that little bit of gratitude is what keeps me from, you know what I'm saying, like, being like in a resentful place about it, because I know that it's like
You
a
see
gift
the
that
work.
I'm giving
Yeah.
my family. I know that they're appreciative.
Because there was a
And-
lot of men who left that morning without a breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
You got one. And so you recognize that, like, I actually don't have to do this. It's not like when we signed our marriage license, it was like, I shall make breakfast every goddamn day. I don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? And so just, it's nice to understand that I see you, you see me. It's, you know what I mean? Like,
You see the work.
Like, we're a
'Cause
team.
it takes a lot.
And he cooks breakfast too all the time. Like, that's his, that's his fave.
Okay.
And he's actually really good at it. So sometimes
Those
I
fried
don't even have to.
potatoes were
They're really, really good. He's great at it. My kids prefer his potatoes over everybody's, so even mine. So that says a lot, So shout out to you, babe. You're the real MVP of potatoes and breakfast.
And like I said, too, because I always felt like I'm probably related to your husband's family in some kind of way, just
Wouldn't that be
reading from
awesome?
that. I mean, we're just all from the same area, and it's just too much of a coincidence. That tastes exactly like my uncle's potatoes. Like,
Really?
seriously. Like, my uncle and my dad, like, they both, like, they
Had it down.
even my cousin, shout out to Super Chef Barbie, like, 'cause she always brings that up too, them potatoes.
That's so cute. It's so cute how our lives were, or are parallel in a lot of ways too, with our mate and stuff like that. But yeah, good potatoes, man. Well, all I'm gonna say is that this was a fun read. I think it was really quick. Again, if you're like kind of squeamish and can't find the humor, because even the one when he was like working at the morgue and stuff, like, he was like obsessed with death for a while. Yeah. And that kind of, like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, this explains why he's like this a little bit. Like, that probably informs some of his humor too.
When you learn about his family and stuff, because he talks about his family a lot, and
because they're Greek.
they are
Yeah, I
Greek.
guess it is.
His sister Amy Sedaris,
She's Sudeikis. Who is that?
Jason Sudeikis
I keep doing
was
that. They're
on
not the
Saturday
same
Night Live
person.
and 30 Rock. He's a fantastic actor,
He is.
but
So
and there's Galifianakis. That's
ignorant.
another
That is Greek.
Yeah.
Very much.
But no, he's
Stephanopoulos.
Sedaris, David Sedaris. And but yeah, Amy Sedaris, I've read her book too. I Like You.
That's what it's called?
I think so. So I'm like, I like you. And she's like, they're like in a little like kind of Donna Reed outfit serving cookies.
Oh, wow.
She's very, very funny. She's actually, you remember the movie Elf? She's the secretary from Elf.
Secretary at the office of the dad.
Mm-hmm.
Elf was
That's
so
Amy
funny.
Sedaris. And she was also in Sex and the City. I'm rewatching Sex and
Shut
the City.
up.
Just
You put me on to Sex and the City. I remember you had
we
all
need
of
to
the,
read it. We need to read the book.
The book? Was it based on a book?
Sex and the City. That's why,
I did not
to me, whenever
know.
there's anything I like, I immediately look to see if there was a book.
Oh.
So when I started watching Sex and the City, I'm like, oh my goodness, I like this. I'm like, is there a book? Yes, Candace Bushnell. She's written several books, but Sex and the City was the one that was turned into the series. And it's so interesting because in real life, that shit with Big did not work out. Big married a younger woman and stayed with her.
Obviously.
In real life, she ended up marrying the Baryshnikov dude. Like
the Russian guy.
Yeah, the Russian guy in real life. Yeah, in real life, that stuff, like, that would never work out in real life, a relationship like that.
No. It was that there. Yeah, I mean, I would love to revisit it, period, because it wasn't really on my radar. And I remember you had all of the actual tape, discs or whatever.
CDs or DVDs.
DVDs.
And
And
the DVDs.
I sat there and binge watched those. That was fun. Those were the days,
Those
man.
were the days.
I could binge watch
So now you can
stuff.
just stream it.
That would be fun.
And it holds up in a lot of ways. I like it very much like this book. There's some things that are very dated.
Yeah.
But in other ways, it's like, because it's still dealing with human beings and relationships, it holds up in that way. And fashion. So shout out to Patricia Field for styling Sex and the City. It was
I don't know.
still fun to watch. Yeah, she was the costume designer for that show.
Nice. Of course you know that. That's
She had a book.
Listen, this is why, you guys, even if you don't read books, this is why book club, like the idea of book club, is really important, I think, because even if you're not a book reader, people who read books are super interesting because they have so many narratives that, I mean, maybe you've explored them, but then also, too, it just gives you have so much to talk about. And I like that. I love to talk. I don't know if y'all know that.
I love talking.
So it's like cool. I get to talk to somebody who has all these different, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm learning. It's so
Check 'em out.
fun. Yes. All right. And so if you had to rate our book pick or your book pick for this week, what would you give it?
I'm giving it 5 out of 5 candy canes. This is just one of my top tier favorite books of all time. He's just one of my favorite writers.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a pretty glowing review. Of the
I
book.
recommend it I agree with Moni. You do have to have a certain sort of sense of humor. Like I said, if you hold like Christmas and Santa sacred, you won't like this.
No. Sacred. Well, let me not be mocking. I'm sorry. I'm going to say sacred.
But
How is Santa? I thought this was a Christian holiday. I think people who, in my mind, I'm thinking like if you
Santa
hold
is
Christmas,
a de facto god.
oh gosh. Okay, I'm uncomfortable. Yeah, so if you feel like that, don't listen. A, don't listen to this episode. B, like, don't read the book. Like, don't be here. You have to leave now.
It's like,
it's
what
not
do you
going to
like
work out.
about us?
And I don't want to be offensive, but don't come here, though. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, don't come around here unless you're okay with a little bit.
We're going to push the envelope a bit.
Yeah, it's going to be a little irreverent, but
But we try to be respectful because,
we love
enjoy.
everybody.
For sure.
That's why, poke a little fun.
Yeah, man. And that's exactly what this book was. So if you have
Santa
a little
can
bit,
take it.
He can. He's a big guy. He's been
He's
around.
pretty powerful.
Apparently. He's got power.
Got a lot of
man.
resources.
Definitely. So I guess if I had to rate the book, I would give it probably, I feel like I got to give it 3.5.
Okay.
What did I give him? Elf outfits, probably.
Out of 5.
Out of 5, yeah. And I'm doing that only because I feel like there were just 3 of them. There were parts of different ones that I really liked, but yeah, I guess because the whole thing wasn't like, yes, I liked every single part of it. There was parts of it that I was just like, was cool. But yeah, but at the same time, you know what I mean? I really liked his writing style. I was into his sense of humor. Like, I'm not easily offended. I did enjoy that. But yeah, I didn't love the whole thing. I only loved part of it. So that's why I have to give him.
It's like if you like Christmas and despair.
Right. Yeah. If you were like Wednesday Addams and you have on. Have you watched that, by the way?
Yes.
Good show.
And I like
Definitely
it.
like.
Yes, it's giving that sort of point. It's a
Yeah.
little askew.
It definitely is. But that's not like, and I think that I'd be interested in reading more of his books too to see kind of like what his other stuff is hitting for as well, because I do like him as a writer. I think he's good at his job. So very much so. So then you want to take a quick break?
I think we
come
should.
back?
We got to get to another vision party.
We do. We got, listen, we're
Vision
booked and
board
busy.
party.
It's the end of the year.
Or
We have
actually,
stuff
let's
to
call it
do.
a vision party. I like the idea of vision party.
Yeah, we're going to get a vision there.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, guys. So we'll be right back. Hang tight.
Hey.
Welcome back, guys. We're back from the break. Oh
Woo!
my gosh.
We needed that one.
How festive.
It was very festive.
This has been really fun.
It has.
It was a nice change of pace.
Thank you. We were talking about gratitude earlier. Thank you for
Yeah.
doing this with your time. You could be
Absolutely.
doing so many other things, and you're doing this.
And I'm enjoying myself. Like, thank you, because you're here too. And
I'm having fun.
I
It's
am.
chocolate and bubbly wine.
I know, and you got boots.
And I do have boots.
Boots and bubbles, and
Boots
yes,
and
looking very, very
bubbles
cute. I like
and
it.
brownies.
You're bringing, we were talking before we started recording, she's giving you guys Hillary Banks. Okay, she's giving, she's
Whitley
serving
Gilbert.
Yes, she's serving.
Whitley.
Looks like, like a Chanel outfit or something. You know, they have that kind of tweed sort of. Yo, it's hot, you guys. It looks cute. She's doing good. And then, what I did was I got the little cutouts on the shoulders.
It is giving Christmas ornamentation.
Yeah, so this is our version of ugly sweaters. I
And
guess,
it's
this
very
year.
silver and gold.
Yep. So,
But now let's get to this or that.
Yes, this or that, you guys. So I, instead of doing like a Stranger Than Fiction, thought we should do something fun, and like do like a fab edition, holiday edition of This or That. This or That is basically a game where I'm gonna name two things and you have to pick which one. Okay. So I'm gonna ask Kat, because I have the iPad, what she prefers. Okay. So these are Christmas or kind of holiday.
And I haven't seen these,
Questiones.
so this is fresh.
She hasn't. These are fresh. Okay. So I think I know this answer. Would you prefer the movie Home Alone or Santa Claus?
There's a movie called Santa Claus?
Yes, it has the guy Tim the Tool Man. Taylor.
Home Alone.
Okay. All right. I knew you were gonna say that. Mine too. Me too. For the record. Elf or Grinch?
Elf.
Really? I'm so torn.
I just watched
love
Elf the
them
other day.
both. We did too. Elf is so funny.
And because Amy Sedaris is in it.
Listen, you did just say that. Okay. I know this one because we just had it on our IG post. Christmas sweaters or Christmas PJs?
Sweaters.
Really?
I'm switching it
PJs.
up.
PJs for me, guys. I get
Just
down
because
with
I'm
Christmas
really
PJs.
cold right now and PJs aren't
Are you
super warm.
cold? I'm about to give you my coat. This coat is like a whole blanket. Do you want this?
I'm okay.
All right, because I feel great.
But it's like in this moment right now, if I could have a sweater or PJs, I want a sweater.
Okay. All right. Well, mulled wine or eggnog? I don't even
I'm
know
going
what
to go
mulled
with
wine is.
wine. It's thick-ass wine.
Mulled.
It's like got a bunch of
Moscow Mule. Is
spices
it
and
like,
stuff.
Okay, it has like spices
Yeah.
and fruits and shit like that. I'd probably pick that too. Eggnog, not my fave. I like using it as a batter for my French toast, though.
Oh, there you go.
It's
I don't like
quite
super
delicious.
creamy stuff, so
That's true, I
eggnog's
knew
never
that.
been a
It's never gonna win. What about turkey or ham?
turkey.
Turkey, me too.
I don't touch the swine.
Lies. Let me have a rib right here, right now. Tell me you would
I
eat
won't buy it, but if it's right
You'll
there,
eat it.
something, yeah.
it. Don't let
I'm
it
trying to
fool
be
y'all.
better.
What about a real tree or a fake tree?
Fake tree.
Why?
Because I can just reuse it every year.
It's just more practical, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel torn because the child me likes the real trees because I love the smell and that's what I grew up with. However, the
They should.
the practicality of my life.
And there could be a live stuff on it. Because, like, what if there's, like, some crazy fungus? Like, all the books we've read this year have got me so scared of fungus.
Fungus is alive and it does stuff.
It does
okay?
stuff to your brain. Like, you can get
Yo. Yeah, I mean, I love the smell of them, but just for my life, I'd use fake tree because it's just easier. Cozy cabin or winter sports vacation?
Cabin.
Cabin for me too.
What is a winter sports vacation?
I'm thinking like skiing,
Snowboarding and stuff.
all of that
if
shit.
I'm going to fall down a hill and die, I want it to be for free.
Damn, right. You don't want to be wearing like a super expensive outfit.
Man, skiing is so expensive.
It's super expensive.
Like, no. Mm-mm.
I mean,
I'm clumsy and it's cold. I don't need those. Cabin,
cabin
fireplace,
for me too. Hot
reading,
tub,
cocoa,
food,
fatty food.
drinks. Yes, chilling. Okay, it's giving everything I need, all the vibes. I think I know this answer too. Champagne or sparkling cider?
Champagne, please.
Champagne, let's go. Same. What about appetizers or formal dinner?
Apps. Yeah.
I'm such an app gal.
And it's also just sitting there and perfectly eating food.
It's like I want a whole bunch of different stuff, and I want the variety, but I want the tastiness. So I don't need it to be a full meal. That's the one thing about having a family that like irritates me. We can't eat snacks for like dinner. Nobody wants to do that with me except for Kat. This is why we're here. Okay, a charcuterie board. Like, give me some,
give me
or
some
just some
crab puffs.
Yo, give me some crab
egg
puffs.
rolls.
Yes,
A little
shrimp.
skillet of nachos.
Listen,
some
kind
dip.
of delicious ass dip. Are you kidding me right now? Matter of fact, speaking of dip and delicious appetizers, we have a shifting gears here, guys. Every year we do not a New Year's, Lord. This is the champagne because I haven't eaten anything. Excuse me. We do a Christmas Eve or like a Christmas brunch with our friends that I look forward to every year because we do this thing where we have our drinks, we have all of our appetizers,
And we share because I don't know if your husband's like this, every man that I've been married to does not share food. If we go out to eat, like I literally was told I have every bite of my plate planned out, so I can't share. And I understand, like, okay, I'm not one of those people who, like, the food comes out and I immediately, like, eat off your plate. I feel like that's rude. But, like, just because the portions are so large, I rarely eat all of my food. And so when I go out with the girls, like, that's true. So we don't mind sharing. But if I go out with a man, they never get enough food anyway at a restaurant. So, like, they never want to share. And which is why I maintain I don't like going out to eat with men generally.
Well, I think if my husband's not terrible about it, I don't plan to eat off of his food. But, like, most of the time, if we get something different, he wants to taste mine, too. So, like, we'll both give each other, like, a little part of it just to taste it or whatever. But, yeah.
That's
I like
why
that
they have a relationship that lasts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. He doesn't mind sharing too
notes.
much. But also, I'm not, like, digging his plate because I got what I wanted to have.
Yeah.
So we're good there, so.
But, yes, appetizers to me are perfectly, like, especially at the end of the day.
It's so good. It's just so good. And then it's like now I'm taking... Because I'm the kind of person that wants an appetizer or a super salad and a drink. By the time the food comes, I'm full. And so now I'm taking this whole meal home, which I'll probably just give to my husband anyway. So it's like if I'm going to eat here, I'm going to get small little bite-sized delicious snacks, and I want to try.
That's why tapas is so amazing.
Are bomb. Like that.
Thank you, Spanish people.
Yeah, that's one thing that I can say we like from, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty dope.
And shout out to whoever won the World Cup. Way to go. That was this morning.
Was it?
Yes. The winner of the World Cup has probably already been decided. Let's look it up real quick. Let's see who won. Because I remember I wanted to do a whole thing around it, and then I saw, like, the game was super early in the morning. I was like, I ain't doing all that. So, because even the Google thing was, like, special this morning.
Even you
World
just
Cup.
searching for it right now is more than I would ever have done.
It's,
So
it's
congratulations.
people care about
They do.
football.
And that's good. I'm not taking it away from them, but you can't expect me to care about something that I just,
What the hell?
What? Is it still happening?
It looked like it tied.
Okay, see.
It was 3-3 Argentina, France. So what does that mean? Who? Oh, so Argentina won.
Their 3 meant more. Their 3 was worth more.
I don't know how it works, but yeah,
I don't know.
Congratulations, Argentina. You held in there. You worked hard. And also shout out to France. Y'all made it to the top and technically tied. So that means they must have had a lower score in the other tournament play.
Uh-huh. I checked out about 5 minutes ago because I don't know. But, to those of you who
Joy to the world.
Yes, joy to everyone. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. This was really fun.
Last shout out to D Dowdy. Congratulations on your news.
Boo.
And congratulations for me for not spoiling it because I knew about it and it was very difficult to not say anything. I wanted to a lot because it's very special. Having your first child, it's amazing. You're amazing. Way to go.
And welcome to the club, love.
Welcome to the
Hit
club.
us up if you need any little
It's not hard at all.
encouragement. No, we're nailing it.
If you're having a hard time, that's you.
That's right. You're doing everything wrong. Actually, no, you can hit us up always because, girl,
yes,
it's beautiful.
You're already
and
doing an
terrible
amazing job.
all
And I
at
can already
once.
tell just by how, like, amazing you are at being mean. You're going to be a great mom.
Let's go. Shout out to you.
Yes.
It's not mean. It's boundaries. That's not mean.
She's a little mean. Like, she's
like
mean
it.
in the
I'm
way
into
that
it.
only extraordinarily beautiful women can be mean,
she
and
is
people
like-
still like you.
She is very, very true because she is stunning. Like, her
Yes,
teeth are all
but it's
perfect.
kind
She's
of
all
like,
extra
you know
beautiful, for
what?
sure.
I mean, so she's going to be an amazing mom. So I look forward to seeing it.
That's
You're going to do great.
Yay.
I wanted to
is a
say
really
that.
nice
But, like,
way.
yes, we do need to go because, man.
Okay, guys, so I guess we're going to sign off. Hopefully you enjoyed this fun holiday episode, you guys. Hit us up at thefabpodcast@gmail.com. Our Patreon is popping. We've got all the content for you guys that you didn't know you needed, but that is there. So please think about joining our Patreon family. It is patreon.com/thefabpodcast. And also, guys, share our podcast. Like, we are really expanding. We are doing great things. We're super excited for the upcoming year. We have some events that are coming up. So really stay tuned. I mean, like, we out here in these streets, and so we need your help. So share this with the people you like, who you think can, tolerate our shenanigans. And come back next week because we got some more of that good stuff for you. And I guess that's it. Right? No? Yeah. No.
Yes, I think we did it.
Okay.
We're
I was waiting for validation, friend. I was scrambling.
Yes.
I was floundering.
I know.
and
I
you were
feel like
leaving
there's
me.
like a whole bunch of other stuff, but I'll just
Save
say
it
that
for
for
the
Patreon.
High five because yeah. Yes, her hat fell off. Yeah.
Woo!
Okay, bye guys.
That's how you know it's over.
Peace.
Before we go, we must give thanks
Thank you.
to Urban Nerd for providing our music, and legal services were handled by Trezanae M. Atkins. If you like what you heard, please feel free to join us every Wednesday for another fake-ass book club. Cheers.
Thank you guys for listening. You can check us out at thefabpodcast.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you're listening right now. We want to hear from you. Come put it in our life. Thanks again, and until next time, peace, love, and the Fake Ass Book Club. We out.